Well, The Walking Dead is back, which means we're back. And speaking of backs, thank you for checking out Nerd Nation's Season 10, Episode 9, Show to Comic. We start things off right where the mid-season finale ended, with our survivors trapped inside Alpha's cave. Speaking of Alpha's cave, but more on that later. This episode was titled Squeeze and refers to the group having to squeeze through tight spaces to escape their cavernous prison. Speaking of squeezing into tight spaces, not one to give up, Daryl Targaryen comes up with a plan to escape. Navigating the various tunnels and passageway, the group finds their way to the top with mostly thanks to Jerry. Alright, rapid puns and jokes, go. Hey Jerry, can you give me a hand? Check it out, Jerry's armed himself. I guess that zombie came in handy. Let's give a hand to Daryl for his brilliant idea. Best way to defeat zombies? Disarm them. Look at Daryl single-handedly light the way. They eventually find a way out, but not before Carol decides to leave the cave with a bang, trapping Connie and Magna inside. Hold on, I can do better. They eventually find a way out, but not before Carol decides to make an explosive exit. The group heads back to the communities before more walkers show up, leaving their friends trapped in the cave. Daryl stays behind to look for a backdoor entrance.
Gotta be another way in.
And speaking of finding a backdoor exit... Sorry, okay, that was the last one. Okay, so this was the main story for this episode and was exclusive to AMC. The closest comic book parallel I can think of comes from issue 144. In AMC's version, the group crosses over twice after Negan escapes. First, to capture Whisper, and the second time to try to find Alpha's horde. In the comics though, they only cross over once in pursuit of Negan, fearing he'll start a war or give Alpha some intel on them. Going after Negan, Aaron and Michonne are discovered by Beta and quickly surrounded. They try to leave peacefully, but the Whisperers aren't having it and attack. So while not a direct adaptation from the comics, elements such as crossing the border and being trapped are definitely there. While the group was off spelunking, the side story of this episode was Alpha trying to find who's spying on them. Negan gives her a clue as to who the spy might be.
Oh Frank, seriously? I have such a raging clue right now?
So she sends Frankenstein's hemorrhoid after Gamma. When his story seems to check out, she decides to give him an ass reward.
You're a crass man. I reckon you might appreciate a crass reward.
Sorry, I meant crass. Negan's time with the Whisperers is something that AMC did a lot better job of than the comics in my opinion. They go in a lot more in depth with his time there. However, the whole concept of the spy was exclusive to AMC. Negan and Alpha do get close to doing the nasties in the comics, however, the mood gets spoiled.
Butt in. Pun intended.
In issue 146, after spending a few days with the Whisperers, he starts to earn their trust. One night though, he sees two Whisperers taking a woman by force into the woods. Negan steps in to save her, but is taken down by Beta for it. He gets put in timeout for it, and later Mama Alpha comes over to scold him. After some back and forth over how they should live, Negan turns on his charm. This causes Alpha to break down and starts confessing everything to him. Anything that would get her killed for being weak, she confides in Negan. Showing he's not afraid of anyone, he stands up to her and calls her out on the whole Whisper way of life, saying it's bullshit and all make-believe. It seems to work as Alpha looks to be falling for him and moves in closer to embrace. However, before things can get closer though, Negan slashes her throat and proceeds to cut her head off. His true motive is revealed. The whole thing was a ploy to earn Rick's trust by trying to disrupt the Whisperers. So unlike AMC's version, Negan and Alpha got close but never did the nasty. He went full praying mantis on her, just without the sex part. AMC having Negan be with Alpha and all that was a huge change made from the comics, but the season is still young. The death of the Alpha is a very critical part in the comics, since this is essentially what kicked off the Whisperers launching their full attack and assault onto the communities. It's possible that Alpha hasn't launched a full-on assault on the communities because she didn't want to risk harming Lydia. However, now that Lydia has kind of stated definitively that she wants nothing to do with her mom and wants to be with Daryl in the communities, she no longer feels the need to protect her. It might even be that this is a betrayal to Alpha, and she kind of feels like she has to take revenge out on those people that took her daughter away from him. And that's why she releases the Horde. During the next episode, called Stalker, Daryl and Alpha will get into a fight, leaving them both very much injured. At some point, Lydia shows up and tells her mom she's only there for Daryl. This essentially brings home the fact that Lydia is no longer one of them. This act by Lydia might be AMC's catalyst for the Whisperers launching their assault. So how did you feel about this mid-season premiere? Were you one of the many who got mad at Carol? Are you looking forward to the upcoming war? Leave your thoughts and comments in the section below, and until next time, keep on walking.